What do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I'm recording now in case we want, just in case. We don't have to put it up. We'll see how it goes. It's more
We
of
should
a
have started
private.
from the beginning. Oh well.
What, Julia?
So we should have had it from the beginning, but it's okay.
Yeah, I know.
We
Well,
forgot.
why do you wish we were recording from the
I
beginning?
feel like we had some good insights in there.
There were some really good insights, yeah. Do you remember any in particular?
No, but I remember I underlined something in here to share in mystery school, and it was about insights. And
Yeah.
I want
A
to
sight
Which
from
book? Which book?
within.
Which book is that one?
this. I got this chakra notebook from Target for like $7 or $8, but it's like an activity book, and it helps you kind of get back into alignment with like your just like soul, like you being in touch with yourself and like positive. But it had something about like how epiphanies can like go so soon, and like you should write down your insights so that you don't lose them.
Mhm.
It's interesting because my experience with insights is once I see something that, I just know is so helpful. It's so great that I saw that because I just know it's going to help me in life. I've never lost that. I forget sometimes when I get caught up in a lot of thinking, but then I come back to remembering at some point.
Mm.
And
I
the
think
thing,
too. God, I was gonna say just like seeing something for me, I also have to process it. So I could see it so many times, but until it really sticks, that's
Yeah.
when I start to process and have those insights.
yeah, it's like you see, does this happen for you? Like you see something and you forget, and you see it again and you forget, and you see it again and you forget. And then at some point you see it again and it's like, wow. It almost like the insight gets deeper. I don't know.
Mhm.
That just seems like how it goes for me.
Yeah. I think there are
Fascinating.
stages to like an insight. Like you realize it and then it like sets in and then you see it in action and then it's like, yeah, it has
Yeah.
faith. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Sid
I
says
think too.
something.
What does he say?
Go ahead, Jesse.
No. Well, now I want to know what you
I
were gonna
mean,
say.
Sid said something about that, and it came and then it went. That it's a sight within. It's almost like insights. I don't remember Sid saying this, but to me, it seems as though when I get an insight, I knew it. I just didn't realize I knew it. That's what it feels like.
With me, when I've been reading and like even the books, it's like just making me think in a different way. So like one of the things in that book that it was saying was like focusing on the positive and not the negative, or focusing on the now and not the past.
Mhm.
So I know what I need to do is it's almost like a diet. You know what you need to do to lose a weight, but you're not doing it. And then one day it clicks.
What book are you referring to?
The Missing Link.
The Missing
That's
Link.
what I was reading yesterday.
That's what you were reading at the beach. Yeah. What a great book to read at the beach. Wow. What else did you see in that book?
I have almost like skipped the conscious because I know you had mentioned, so I went back and looked if I had read that one. But the main one, which I think that's why I had downloaded the book, was the one about forgiveness. That's the one that I like need to read and reread again.
Forgiveness. Forgiving the person, not the act. And forgiving yourself also. Not just another, but yourself also. What did you see about forgiveness that you hadn't quite realized
Just things
before.
like that. Like that whole thing about you have to forgive the person but not the act. I get held back on, oh no, that's it, one chance and I'm done. So that's probably my biggest thing that I need to work on. So I highlighted
Say
the
that
chapter.
again. It was a little hard for me to hear that.
Oh, forgiving the person and not the act, because I think that's the hardest part that I have, because I get focused on the situation and then I can't move forward. So I
You
need to
get
work on that.
focused on the act, on the situation. Yeah. 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 You know, and we can get so busy minded with the thing that happened and with our judgments about what happened and how we wish something else happened and on and on and on and on. Like earlier, Julie and I were talking about how she had created an idea for a future business.
Mhm.
And we were commenting about how we are creative beings. It's so cool to see the creations that we come up with. And it's not so cool when we create all these things about something we don't like. Like,
Mhm.
how can we forgive this act because create, this happened, that happened, la, 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 la. You know, our imagination runs wild because we are creative beings, but we can have our imaginations run wild in the negative direction or in the positive direction.
Yeah.
Looking at what is possibility as opposed to looking what we don't want, negativity.
Oh yeah, one thing I was gonna say to you as well, like that I realized this past week, like in an insight, was that when you think about the negative thing, like what you're seeing in your life that you don't want, and when you're focusing on that, that it ends up it like happening. Like for example, like maybe it is like a self-limiting belief. Like, oh, I can't think of like exactly in my life, but it's like saying I am this way, and then like you just accept it for what it is, and then you don't end up pushing yourself to be like more than that, so it ends up being your reality. So the more you're focusing on the thing you don't want, it ends up being what is. Like, so if you're spending all of your time and your energy and like your imagination you're creating on what you don't want, that's what's going to become true, because that's what you're accepting and allowing and focusing on. Like, I don't know. And I realized that everything that I didn't want happened in my life, and I kind of created it in that way without intentionally doing it, but maybe like subconsciously doing it, like to myself, you know?
Mhm.
I don't know. That was kind of a ramble, but
They call it that, the self-fulfilling prophecy. They teach us that when you go into the program, where you're like, if you think it, that's gonna happen. So I know, like, I've been reading a lot about mindsets and telling the kids, I'll be like, I'm not good at math, and I'll say, nope, you are good at math. You just need to work at it.
exactly. And then you end up accomplishing like double what you first expected yourself to. Yeah, because I've actually seen that happen. Like when I was telling you with running, I couldn't run not even a mile. One day I was just like, I kept telling myself, I'm not a runner, I'm not in shape, I'm not this, I'm not that. And that day I was just sick of it, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And I ran like 3 miles. Like totally out of shape. I did it. I wasn't even sore the next day. Like, I just like something in me was able to like do more, just given like the positivity that I was like feeding my brain. Like some people don't like come to you and say things out loud, like, and actually give you credit where credit is due, or like tell you they're proud of you, but like you have to like take that responsibility and like tell yourself like you can do things. That's what I've realized this past week, actually.
We have to like focus on like the small steps. like that. I read a lot about like diet and exercise, and they say, don't celebrate when you've lost 30 pounds, celebrate when you've lost 5 or 1, or that you're eating healthy or you're exercising consistently versus, oh, I haven't met my end goal.
Yeah, exactly. Not focusing on like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't accomplish what I thought I was gonna do, and like I'm not gonna do it anymore. Like, yeah, you have to focus on even like the small victories, and yeah.
Like Alan Flood, who was on yesterday's Mystery School, he uses this thing where he pats himself on the back, but he means that more in when he gets caught up in negativity and he realizes it, he forgives himself, which brings us back to the forgiveness that you were reading in The Missing Link. No, it might be cool. I think it's pretty short because if we have enough time, we do have time, right? I can't see that clock. I have to put on my, yeah, we've got another half an hour. Do you want me to read that section of
Yes.
forgiveness and see where we go? That's what we did yesterday on consciousness. I read the 3 or 4 pages of consciousness in search of, in The Missing Link, and forgiveness, love and forgiveness. 115, page 115, because that often stimulates, I found, when we read it and then talk about it. So it's one, we could go slowly because there's so much in every single line, really. Not that many pages. All right, so love and understanding harmonize the mind of humanity to its true inner nature. What you give in life is what you receive. We were talking about that earlier, weren't we? That really what we give, we're really receiving because we're feeling what we're giving.
Yeah.
That's coming through us and we get the feeling of it. To give love is to receive love. A mind full of love and good feelings can never go wrong. Love and forgiveness go hand in hand. Without them, life is encumbered by ill feelings and unhappiness. Nobody can deny that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And that's the thing, the whole forgiveness is like, then you're not moving forward. So the only person miserable is you.
You're not moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, if you're not forgiving, you're not moving forward, but really the only person that it affects is you. So I remember when my kids were younger, I would get upset and then they'd be fine and I'd still be upset. So I'm like, it wasn't helping me. It wasn't helping me at all.
Right. And you were innocent too, because if you knew that it wasn't helpful, you wouldn't do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where forgiving yourself comes in.
Exactly.
Realizing, like the other person, if they knew better, you too, if you knew better, you would have done better.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just be conscious of, at that moment, stopping myself and focusing on, is this going to benefit me? No, I think I was reading something this morning. I have like apps that I read, and it was about exercise. I always get up in the morning and exercise. And it was like, I should exercise or I want to exercise, because I don't have to. I can take a day off. My body needs a rest. So is it, do I want or should I? So I just I'm on the bike now, but low impact, but like I just took a break in the morning for the first time in a long time.
I'm just letting Tom in now. He just made it. Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi there. So you're on your
Hi.
computer? You got your computer to work?
it's working for now. Yeah, so that's good.
Good. Nice to see you.
You too. And hi, everybody.
Do you
Hello.
know Jesse? I think you know Julia. Do you know
Yeah,
Jesse?
I think we've been on before.
You've been
together.
on together before. Good. So we're doing something similar to what we did yesterday, Tom. I just started reading the chapter on forgiveness.
Mhm.
And the last line, I just read a few paragraphs. Love and forgiveness go hand in hand. Without them, life is encumbered by ill feelings and unhappiness. Judging your own faults or the faults of others leads to unhappiness. A mind that dwells in non-judgment is a contented mind. Oh, can anybody relate to that?
Yeah.
What do you think, Julia, about that?
Wait, can you read the sentence again?
Yeah. Judging your own faults or the faults of others leads to unhappiness.
Yeah.
A mind that dwells in non-judgment is a contented mind.
Yeah. Because I try to fix everyone else's problems so that we can all be happy. We can all be happy together. Like, I'll help you. Like, just tell me what your problems are. No. I realize that doesn't work. So,
It's fine.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's so well-meaning that you want to help somebody else. But and we don't even realize that in so doing, we're judging them.
Yeah, I never looked at it like that, but it probably looks like that to them, that they're being judged. Yeah.
And
See, and
they
I look at it as you're helping someone else when you really need to be focusing on you sometimes.
Yeah.
So you're like giving all of your energy, but what are you doing for you? Not that in a selfish way, but if somebody's having a stressful day, you're helping them, but you're just as stressed. So what are you doing for you?
Yeah. Like neglecting my own.
Exactly. Your own needs.
Mhm. Yeah.
and in helping them, you know, they're picking up that they're being judged.
Right. My dog pulled all the toys out of the toy bin and he's just laying in the bin right now. He's like just looking up at me like, hey mom, when are you done?
See, I'm on my phone because if I'm on the computer and my dog hears people, he will start barking.
Oh,
So I have to be on my phone with headphones. Let me see. I got to see the dog. Wait,
I
I want to
didn't
see. I
see-
want to see.
Flip it? No.
You were showing us, I missed it, Julia.
Hey, bud.
oh,
You got to say something so that. Oh,
Oh, I see him.
looking at it.
Oh, I can't. It's hard to see, but it's like way too dark in here.
That's
Hold
funny.
on. I need to get
That's
water.
his protest. That's how Louis protests that you're not
Louis.
spending time with
It's
him.
like ready when you are.
That's so funny. Time to play.
Yeah.
All right, we got a little more time, so let's see. A heart full of love is void of all judgment and is filled with divine spirit.
Because if you're focused on that, you're not giving energy to all the negativity.
Right. Yeah. What was it you said earlier, Julia, about you had a recent discovery about how love is,
Oh, yeah.
the way I heard you, that love is like our default setting.
Yeah. Like love is the solution to any negativity. Like if you're feeling tension or like anxiety or like any like self-doubt, I feel like loving yourself or like loving the situation, loving the person and like finding the innocence in it kind of also but loving something just feels good. It's like the best feeling, but also it's all like the best to receive too. So it is a gift in itself to just not really try and like say words to solve problems, just kind of like love, and it'll just work itself out, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we have pets, because they love us unconditionally,
I know.
right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Here he is. Here he is.
Thank you. I gotta see with my glasses.
Puppy.
Oh, when my hair's messy.
Oh,
Oh,
Huey.
oh, he's so cute.
Little wiener dog. He's a good boy.
Tom, was there something that you wanted to bring up? There's a little more I could keep reading about
sure. Sure. Well,
forgiveness, but
what's interesting about that is I heard something in what you're reading about judging, like judging yourself. Now, like if you stop to think about judging, like if you're going to judge yourself, like right now, there's only one place you can look for that, and that's in the past. Because whatever you're judging happened, it's not happening now. So anything that you're judging is already in the past. And to me, that's the relation to forgiveness, because forgiveness is about the past. It's over, you know. And so that's been a theme for me the past week, is realizing more and more the power of the fact that the past is truly over. And the only access I have to the past is through my memory and by thinking about it. Otherwise, it's totally, absolutely gone. So I can't judge myself if I'm, unless I'm thinking about the past. If I'm just in the present, assuming I'm not doing anything judge worthy right now, there's nothing to judge. It's truly already gone. It's gone. It's totally gone. And we can imagine, well, I had this trait yesterday and it's not happening now, but then we can imagine it going into the future. But the future hasn't happened yet. The future is totally imagination, totally. Maybe even more so than the past, because you can't remember the future. You can only imagine it. So I've really been struck the past week about the power of realizing that the past is over and the future is totally unknown. So it's not even like trying. There's this whole thing in the world about trying to get into the present, try to be present, try to be in the moment. But this kind of flips it. It's like, well, there's no past, there's no future, except in my mind. There's nothing left except the present. So there's no effort to be in the present. You just have to remember that the past is over and the future is imagination. And it's been really powerful for me I started seeing that in the past week. But I just realized as you were talking, that ties into judgment. Because I can't judge myself if it's not happening. It's not true. And it's not true if it's in the past. It's no longer true. So anyway, thank you for listening to all that. But I feel really strongly about it.
oh yeah, it's brilliant. It's so brilliant, right? Think about it. Like, it is impossible to judge yourself in the present, even if, let's say you were on your bicycle a little bit ago, Jesse,
Yes.
even if you think, oh, I should be going faster. So in the present, you try to go faster and you realize, oh, I can do this. Or you realize, no, it's too much and you back off. Right? So that is brilliant. I never thought of it like that, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. And something else.
And not really judge yourself in the present. Yeah. It's impossible.
Yeah. And something else you said is really important too, because even 2 minutes ago is in the past. It's just as much the past as 20 years ago. So if you're feeling bad, like maybe I'm trying to think, like if I felt bad, then I just was rude to my housemate, but it was 5 minutes ago, it's already gone. But I might say, oh, I'm rude, but it's already gone. So anyway.
Yeah. Can anybody come up with something you could be doing in the present moment and also judging yourself as, yeah.
I'm thinking like baby steps, like I don't know, like what I did now like I worked out. But not thinking like Tom said about like this morning that I gave myself that break and not feeling guilty about it because I got to it. Or sometimes it's even just a walk at work. Because sometimes it gets very, sorry, my phone keeps singing, getting stressful at work. And sometimes I have to just stop myself and do something at that moment to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, what a relief to not judge ourselves. It is such a relief. And the thing that goes along with that for me, Tom, is knowing that, and I know this is true for everybody. Every human, myself included, can only do according to how things appear in the moment. So we are always doing the best we can, given how life looks to us in the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? When you really break it down like that.
Mhm.
Everybody, no matter how awful their behavior is, man, that's the best they can do, given how life is looking to them then and there. Yeah, I love that realization, Tom, that 1 minute ago was in the past.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you know what I love about this, because there's something about being in this conversation around the principles, like for these couple of years, is you see things that were sort of like, I don't know, something you'd see on a meme or a poster. The past is over, forget it. But now you come and you see like a new dimension of something that has become a cliche almost. But now you see it, you walk into a new dimension of it, and you're using the same words that you would have used before, but it feels different and it feels like nicer and freer and exciting. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
Like there's the simplest things we talk about sometimes.
yeah. Oh man, I love that. Yeah. It does. It feels like another dimension. And there's probably even a deeper dimension of seeing this that we're not
Mm-hmm.
aware of right now.
Yeah.
Maybe next week's call will feel
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I dropped into forgiveness deeper.
Yeah.
That's true. So much gets
That
said
is
that
true.
sounds like it's like a cliche. Like
Yeah.
Alan what's Alan's favorite description of this? Conceptual. Like it sounds like a cliche or conceptual, not to judge ourselves.
Yeah.
But if you read The Missing Link enough times, something will strike you that takes you deeper into seeing it. It's not something you can tell yourself or talk yourself into. I mean, you can try, but that's not going to do anything for you. It's, man, when you see deeper, you come up with what Tom just came up with. Like, my God, a minute ago is the past, and it literally doesn't exist. Except for our memory,
That's where we
which,
have to stop getting fixated. I get fixated on things, and I have to now say it to make me seem so that I understand this is what I'm doing right now. I did that at work today, and I said I'm fixated on something, and then I had to stop myself from doing it, and then just finalize something in order for me to get through it. So I have to be aware. I'm starting to try to be more aware of what I'm doing.
yeah,
And Laurie, there was one other thing, like one, as I sometimes have a chance to talk to people, and I'm in some other groups and people talk about what's going on in their lives. The other thing I'm seeing is like, for me, like a lot of the pain that I've had in the past has been like, say, around depression or anxiety. And so I'm like, well, I've had this issue for so many months or years, but the pain comes now because I'm assuming I'm going to carry it into the future. And there's this assumption that, but when I can just see on a very like clear level, like even now, like I don't know how I'm going to feel like at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Like I have no idea how I'm going to feel. So that means like I can't assume that I'm going to be depressed tomorrow. I might be, but I just, when you see like you just don't know. I
I've
think
had
that,
that thing happen.
yeah,
Yeah, when I had my first like real epiphany, and I was telling you, like, the realization I had in the moment was that, well, my biggest fear was inheriting like the anxiety that runs in my family from my dad. Like, I was telling Lori, he's like kind of like an agoraphobic, but he's scared of just crowds, and he doesn't go into public and won't leave the house or do anything. And it's gotten worse as he's gotten older. So as I get older, I have this fear that that's what I am, and that fear is what I became, which is when I was rambling. That's why I was trying to say, like, sometimes what you fear is what it comes true, because I've almost feared it into reality, where I was thinking every day I had the problem, and then getting a medication that every day I was taking for my problem. And then one day I realized, I'm just like, I don't have a problem. And then I called my mom and I told her about it. And she's just like, I know you didn't have that. I've tried telling you you're fine. But I had to go through it and see it in my own eyes, like how Tom was saying, like, kind of just accepting like life, and like you're not what you are, and you can't assume like you're going to have a problem because at one time in your life you did have a problem or you felt a certain way. That doesn't occur 24 hours a day.
right.
So you can't like be scared of it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How wonderful. It sounds so freeing, right? To wake
Yeah.
up to that we're not who we think we are.
Mhm. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, like at any point in your life you can experience change. Like, you don't get a certain age and then things just stop changing, and you don't see things differently, and you don't have insights, and like, yeah, I kind of look at my parents sometimes and I'm just like, I'm waiting for them to kind of like have some type of epiphany. Like, I know it's gonna happen. Like the more that they get like intuitive and stuff, like since my brother passed, they're kind of like looking more and deeply inside themselves. So I'm like, I'm just excited for that. Like, I know at age 60, like it's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
So many places. You know what's interesting? I'll tell you a little personal story about realizing we're not who we think we are. It could happen in reverse from what we've been talking about. So I used to be a smoker. I begged a friend of mine to teach me how to smoke when I was 16 years old. And so that turned into, after being sick to my stomach, I really bucked up so I could do this thing, so I could be cool in school, in high school. And I was smoking until I was like age 30. And
Wow.
I woke up and I had tried to quit smoking, I think probably 10 different ways. And this was before they had Chantix and they had all of these ways to stop smoking. So one morning, and and this was after trying a bunch of ways, behavior modification, you name it. One morning I woke up and I didn't tell myself to do this. I didn't read in a book to do this. I literally woke up, I sat up in bed and I said, "What are you doing? You're not a smoker." And that was the end of it.
I remember you telling me this story. I remember it, and
Mhm.
I remember because I had that same situation happen, and I was like, Lori, she totally like saw, like it was almost like a foreshadowing. When I first met you, I heard you say that story, and then just like recently I realized, like, my mom, like, she's always been a dieter, like always doing like the most recent diet and pill and like surgery and just this and that, and fixated on the problem so much that I feel like I had the problem as well because I grew up like, you know, hating my body too, because like it's just like normal to look in the mirror what I saw and like be like, oh, nothing looks good. Like I'm so fat. I don't like myself. I'm not happy with myself. Like it was almost like a conditioned thinking. And then like in this past year, I'm like, I'm just like my mom. I have my mom's genes and I would like binge eat and I would like be like, well, this is who I am. And then this past week, I was like, I don't have a weight problem. Like I grew up a 3-sport athlete in high school. Like I'm not just now coming this age and having this problem. Like that's not me. Like I'm not this person. And after that, it was the thought and it went and it was
Wow.
gone. The problem was gone. It's like, I don't know what triggers that. Like, what gives it the momentum to finally, like, you realize it and it's just like so easy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
how does that happen that we like wake up to something? What do you guys think? What do you gals think?
That's
It's
what I
just
need
through
to do.
grace, right? It's just like, is it maybe being more, well, I don't know.
Well, it's coming kind of accepting who you are. So I say this, there's 4 of us here. I mean, I come from a big family, but everybody in my immediate, my kids and my husband are in extroverts. And I always felt like the oddball out. And one day I said, but that's not who I am. So accept it, take it or leave it. So
Yeah.
it's just like, and you have to come to the point that this is who you are and that you just have to accept it. So I've learned to manage, but I've also learned to speak up and say, okay, I've already had like, especially, I don't even know how people say, you can't be an introvert, you teach. Yeah, I have a 30-minute drive and that's where I decompress. So sometimes I have to be vocal about it and say, no, I need a break. I need a break from people.
Right. So that's being true to yourself and taking care of yourself.
And I didn't for a long time. I would be like, no, there's something wrong with me. I need to be like this. I need to socialize more. And then I said, no, I don't need to socialize more. I need to be who I am and then have the bits and pieces, but it's not something that I crave.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that like, when you're focusing on like what you're not or what you don't have or like you don't fit that piece, you're like overlooking all the great qualities that you do have and that no one else can compare, like take that from you. Like that's your like special touch. And like it's being overlooked and like not appreciated because like you're not
Mm-hmm.
focusing on it. You're focusing on what you don't like rather than like, you know, all the good things. So
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the thing about the insights and why they come when they do and everything like that seems like a big mystery. And
Yeah.
the only thing that I can see about that is the fact I think I have so many insights because I think I've always been having insights, but I enjoy them so much. I get such a kick out of them. I think
Mm-hmm.
you start seeing them more and more and more. And Julia, it would be interesting, like for you with your parents, the fact that you know they can have insight. It'll be interesting, just your knowing that you may start noticing things in them, you know, because you're sort of oriented, you know, when you're oriented toward the insights and recognize them, you start seeing them. Then you start seeing them like everywhere.
you know, they're
Because
That's
the
so
other people are having them too. They just don't maybe realize it.
yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So true.
So maybe when we start having more insights, it becomes more freeing. And I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to realize, that when I do have that insight, it just frees me of all the baggage.
Yeah. Yeah. That right there is a great insight.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah. Jesse, I can feel freedom when just as you speak that. I can feel a feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So cool. We're not tied to our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We're not tied to them. They're just passing images.
Mhm.
Imagination.
I had just a funny little thing that happened yesterday that was really interesting. Because you know how often we talk about thoughts and thoughts, you know, questionable reality or whatever you want to talk about it. So Laurie knows a little bit that I've been having, I've been trying to get a new computer because this one's dying. And
Mhm.
I've tried a few new ones, but the Zoom doesn't work. Like it's either the audio or there's all this skipping and freezing. So I've been on now, as of yesterday, 4 computers that the only thing I want is for the Zoom to work. Because you know what I'm saying? And so I got a new computer delivered yesterday. It was great. It was the most expensive one that I bought. It was the nicest one I bought. It started talking to me when I opened it, you know, and I was loving it. And then I had a Zoom call scheduled with a friend, and as soon as I got on, it was choppy. The person would talk, but their lips weren't moving. You know, that kind of thing that happens. I'm like, I have to return this because Zoom, like especially if I do any kind of coaching or groups, I can't have that going on. So I got off the call. I'm like, okay, I got to return this. And so I heard myself say, this is so frustrating. And I think anybody in my life would have sympathized. But as soon as I said those words came out of my, this is so frustrating, I realized I didn't even believe it. I didn't believe that I was frustrated. It had like it was like this empty shell. It was just words saying, I am so frustrated. And then I realized, actually, I'm not really that frustrated. And it was really, that was such a strong, like to see it in the moment, that the thought was just empty. It was just a voice, my inner voice saying, I'm so frustrated. It's like, no, I'm not really frustrated.
That is so funny because I have had an experience like that where you're like so conditioned to think in a certain way that you'll have the thought and then you realize that's not even true. That's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. To have the thought and you realize, what am I telling myself? I don't even believe that. That is not my experience. It's a challenge. I'm working on this. But you know what, Tom, do you think it's your Wi-Fi since you went through so many computers?
The only thing about that is this, so the same computer, so when I was on the Zoom call with my friend and it was all choppy, I closed it and opened this one and it was fine.
And it was fine.
So, but somehow we'll figure this out.
Yeah, right.
So it's fine. It's fine. It's kind of fun too. And then I thought, maybe my computer's not dying. Maybe I just think it's dying. I mean, it has this thing when I move the lid, whatever you call it, the screen goes out and I have to kind of move it back and forth to get it to go back on. But once it's on, unless I like bump it. So maybe it'll last another 6 months. Who knows?
Yeah, and then what it is, it's a learning experience. You learn about the different dynamics of what you need or don't need, or just even computers themselves.
Yeah.
I take challenges as a learning experience. If it's challenging and I take something away from it, it's a good thing.
You know what, everybody, we got to end. It's the hour and I'm having a client come on soon. So I'm going to stop the recording, but hang on 1 second because I have a question to ask about timing of our next